Functionalism by Durkheim and Talcott Parsons. Functionalism is one of the major theoretical perspectives in sociology that tries to explain how society works as a system in which every part has a role to play. The theory is deeply rooted in the works of two major thinkers, Emile Durkheim and Talcott Parsons. Both scholars were interested in understanding how societies manage to stay together despite having different individuals, classes, and institutions. They believed that just like the human body, where each organ works to keep the body alive, society also functions through various parts that work in harmony to maintain balance and stability. To explain this in simple words, functionalism sees society as a living organism where everything is connected and serves a purpose. Emile Durkheim, one of the founding fathers of sociology, played a vital role in shaping functionalist thought. He was concerned with what holds society together, especially when modernization and industrialization were rapidly changing people's lives. Durkheim believed that social order is maintained through shared beliefs, values, and norms, what he called the collective conscience. This collective conscience binds individuals together, making them feel part of a larger whole. For Durkheim, society was not just a collection of individuals but an entity that has its own life, structure, and laws. He wanted to understand how this social structure keeps individuals connected. Durkheim explained that when people share common values, they experience social solidarity, which gives meaning and direction to their lives. In traditional societies, people were united through what he called mechanical solidarity. This kind of solidarity comes from similarity. People live similar lives, follow the same religion, and share the same traditions. However, in modern societies, where people perform different jobs and live more independently, Durkheim noticed that social unity comes from interdependence rather than similarity. He called this organic solidarity. In such societies, everyone depends on others to perform specialized roles, just like how different organs in the body depend on one another to function properly. Durkheim's famous study of suicide revealed how social integration affects individual behavior. He found that people who are less connected to society are more likely to feel isolated and commit suicide. This study demonstrated that even personal actions have social causes. It reflected Durkheim's belief that society has a powerful influence over individuals and that understanding social facts, patterns of behavior that exist outside individuals, is essential to understanding social life. In other words, individual problems often have roots in larger social structures. Building on Durkheim's ideas, Talcott Parsons developed a more systematic and complex version of functionalism in the 20th century. Parsons viewed society as a complex system made up of different parts such as the family, education, religion, and economy, all of which perform specific functions to keep society stable. He believed that social order depends on a value consensus, meaning that most people in a society agree on basic values and norms. This shared agreement helps maintain harmony and prevent chaos. Parsons introduced a framework known as the AGIL model to describe the four main functions that every social system must perform to survive. A stands for adaptation, which means society must adapt to its environment and produce resources to meet people's needs. The economy, for example, plays this role by providing jobs and goods. G stands for goal attainment, which involves setting and achieving collective goals. Political institutions like governments handle this by making and enforcing laws. I stands for integration, which refers to maintaining unity and cooperation among members. This function is carried out by institutions such as the legal system or social norms. Lastly, L stands for latency or pattern maintenance, which ensures that values and motivations are passed from one generation to the next. The family and educational institutions mainly perform this task. Through this model, Parsons emphasized that each part of society contributes to maintaining equilibrium. If one part fails to perform its function, other parts will adjust to restore balance. For example, if the economy faces a crisis, the government may create new policies to stabilize it, and the education system might adapt by preparing people for new types of jobs. This interconnectedness is at the core of functionalism. It shows that social institutions depend on each other to maintain social order. Both Durkheim and Parsons also believed that social change happens slowly and in an orderly way. They did not see conflict as the main driving force of change, unlike Karl Marx, who focused on class struggle. Instead, they saw change as a process of adjustment. When one part of society changes, others gradually adapt to maintain harmony. For instance, technological innovations may change the economy, which then leads to changes in education and family structures. But all these changes work to keep society balanced rather than disrupt it. Critics of functionalism argue that it tends to overlook inequality, conflict, and power differences. By focusing too much on harmony and stability, functionalism may ignore how certain groups dominate others or how social change can arise from struggles. However, supporters believe that functionalism provides a valuable understanding of how societies survive and maintain order. It helps explain why institutions like family, religion, and education exist and how they fulfill social needs. In simple words, Durkheim and Parsons showed that societies work best when people share values, perform their roles responsibly, and trust institutions to guide them. Functionalism reminds us that no part of society stands alone. Every action, job, and institution contributes to the larger social system. Whether it is a teacher educating students, a doctor treating patients, or a government making laws, each function keeps the system running smoothly. Even in the modern world, functionalist ideas remain relevant. When a country faces problems such as unemployment, crime, or inequality, functionalism encourages us to see how different systems interact and what adjustments are needed to restore balance. It also reminds us that social stability is not automatic. It depends on continuous cooperation and shared values. In the end, both Durkheim and Parsons gave us a vision of society as an organized system where each part plays its role for the good of the whole. They taught that understanding these functions helps us see the invisible connections that keep communities strong and societies peaceful. Their ideas continue to inspire sociologists, policymakers, and educators who believe that social order is not just a matter of rules but a delicate balance of cooperation, shared purpose, and mutual dependence. If you found this explanation helpful and want to learn more about sociology and social theories, please like this video and subscribe to the channel for more insightful content.